Hey there, card fighters. It's me, Royal Paladin 813. It's a beautiful, sunny Saturday afternoon, and I figure new day, new set, new clan, new deck. So, this is going to be deck profile on my Link's Joker deck complete. Before I do start, I do want to point out that I was hanging out with my friends over at Doom Veiler's guy in the back seat, and he made me actual lock tokens. Definitely check out his channel when you get a chance. It's really hilarious because I've never really seen anyone else use this sort of stuff in Vanguard. So the only time you'll ever see something like this is for Link's Joker. That is the actual lock seal from the TV show. And for the flavor text, because every card has flavor text, all of these, not gonna say what it says, but you can just read that. Because why not? To get this ball rolling, since I am running Link's Joker, I'm not running Source Child. I'm actually running Star Vaders. Dusttail Unicorn is my starter. Obvious, when you lock an opponent's rear guard, you can counterblast one, soul charge it, and lock another one. So he right there is just basically a free +1. Your opponent's going to spend basically the entire game trying to figure out a way to get rid of him. Only ones that really have an answer is Eradicators, and they have to waste their Chowo to do so. After that, for the trigger lineup, I got 4 heals, because that's standard. Nothing is set in stone yet, so I'm not 100% sure, especially since the set just came out. I'm figuring, since I'm controlling the field so much, I will mod these trigger lineup. Right now, though, it is 6 draw. And then the last 6 are crits. I did I think it's still being uploaded right now from my phone. I did my case pull video last night, so that should still be getting uploaded. I don't know what takes my phone forever to do so, but I did get the case pull. I just like the artworks on the actual trial deck ones. That's the only reason why that I'm running those instead of the actual sets. After that, 4 PDs, because you need 4 PDs. 4 copies of Lanthium. His effect is every time a rearguard your opponent controls is locked, he gains 2k. So he's a 7k at starter, but then when you lock an opponent's rearguard, if you break ride, you actually lock 2, so he'll go up by 4k, making him an 11k booster. Well, you also have your Dusttail Unicorn, which you can soul charge and lock another one. So now he's a 13k booster. A 13k booster. So when you get big numbers like that and your opponent can't intercept, they get pissed off, and it's hilarious. After that, 4 copies of their 10k attacker. When you throw him in the front row with this guy behind him, I think yesterday one of my friends was able to lock all 5 of his opponent's rear guard with Nebula Lord in play, and the column became something like 37k or 47k rear guard. Even against Dote, you just sit there and cringe, and everyone just was like, I feel so sorry for the guy. After that, other 2 grade 1s are the 10k boosters. If you're locking your opponent's rear guard and you keep a full field, you only need to lock 1 a turn, and then every turn he's a 10k booster. I've had it where opponents I haven't been able to lock, and they've depleted their hand over just guarding everything and trying to keep themselves alive, that they were forced to intercept the 1 turn that I couldn't lock. And as soon as they did that, I just instantly attacked with a Vanguard after that, and it's like, it's a 10k booster because now I got more rear guards. Guy got so upset, but there was really nothing he could do. After that, for the grade 2s, 4 copies of Neobium or Nolbium, or however you pronounce his name. Same thing as the grade 1. Every time a locked unit every time a card my opponent controls becomes locked, plus 2k. So, you know, when he's an 11k after locking 1, he wouldn't be 11, he'd be 13k because you break ride. Dusttail makes him 15k. 15k with an 11k booster, that's 26k rear guard. They're going to have to deal with that. After that, 4 copies of their 12k attacker. This deck right now Link's Joker doesn't lock as much as people would expect. So Dusttail literally just sits there behind the Vanguard as a 5k booster until you go grade 3. So this deck just is pure aggro up until that point. You know, you'll throw those 7k boosters in the back row behind the 10ks, making your 17k columns until you break ride. And that's honestly the hopes and dreams, is that you break ride almost immediately. But until then, you do have still pure aggression. And compared to all the other grade 2s that came out, there's only one other one that I ever thought about running right now, and it had no competition. So I'm running 3 copies of the Sniper. His effect is, yeah, he's a measly 8k, but whenever he successfully attacks an opponent's Vanguard, he locks another of your opponent's rear guards. So if you break ride, you've already locked 2 of your opponent's rear guards. So you have an 11k booster behind this 8k. That's 19k. So when he attacks Vanguard that's 11k, they still need 10k to guard it. And they're not just going to be like, yeah, sure, whatever, I'll let it go through. No. They'll only let it go through if they have to, because then you lock down and you just V-lock them. V-locking, I'm not sure if anyone else is... if any of you guys actually know this at all. It's what we refer to it at my locals. It's where you end up hitting both of your opponent's front row boost units, or front row attack units, and their Vanguard booster. That's all you need to lock. You never need to lock these 2 back rows in addition, because if these 2 columns can't attack, these 2 are just sitting there dead. And if their Vanguard can't be boosted, just 10k guards every attack for 2 to pass. And they have to double trigger you. They can't pass it off to one of their rear guards because their rear guards can't attack. Lock tokens are amazing also because it makes them remember that they're locked. Versus flipping them upside down, sometimes they'll forget and leave them there. And you gotta be like, yo, flip that back up. For the grade 3 lineup though, 4 copies of Infinite Zero Dragon. When you ride a grade 3 over him, choose an opponent's front row rear guard and back row rear guard and lock it. So whichever one of their 2 rear guard columns has a booster unit behind it, I'll lock the front row of that one, and then I'll just lock the Vanguard booster. I've actually gone into games against like Eradicators where I locked until after I break ride their Vanguard booster Chao, and then I just kept on using my Vanguard to lock it, because why not make them waste a 10, or why not just only use a 10k to guard? After that, I do run 2 copies of Band Dragon. Dark Band Dragon, sorry. And the reason why I run 2 copies of him is, to a point, he is better than Nebula Lord. I don't like saying that, but it is true. They gave us a common promo card that's better than one of the chase cards of the set. Limit Break 4, Counterblast 1, lock an opponent's back row rear guard. And when this unit attacks at the number of rear guards you have is more than your opponent, he gains 3k, so he's a 13k attacker. Yeah. When you stop and think about it, Nebula Lord's cost is Counterblast 2 to lock 1, versus this guy, which is Counterblast 1 to lock 1. What makes Nebula Lord's effect better is the fact that your entire row gains 3k for each locked unit your opponent controls, whereas he himself is the only one that gains 3k. But it does help to make, like, hugely ginormous rearguard columns Nebulas, but it's just for the constant pressure that this card can create that I had to keep him in at 2. So yes, I do run 2 Dark Band Dragons, and obviously from the way that I've been talking about it, I do run 2 Nebula Lords. And the set just came out yesterday, and I need to point this out. They are both SPs. Not sure if you can tell that because of the camera lighting glare, but yes, they are both SPs already. So that means this deck, sadly, has already been maxed raritied at this point in time. But, like I was talking about with Dark Band Dragon, Nebula Lord's effect is for every locked unit your opponent controls, your entire front row gains 3k. Act ability is Counterblast 2. Choose an opponent's rear guard in the back row and lock it. You obviously have Lord on this card, which I do like the fact that they're, making it where it's harder to do cross clans with all these boss monsters. But yeah, Lord, if you have anything in the field that's not a Link's Joker, he can't attack. So yeah, I hope you liked the video, guys. And like always, card fighters, rate, comment, subscribe. Peace.